All right. Hello, Crystal. Thank you, Alfarok. All right, so if you don't know who I am, you should get the file that's in the chat there, the pinned file that you can see. Get that pinned file, and everything that you need to know about me is in that file. Everything you need to know about what we do here, who am I, what's my schedule, what are we doing, etc. I was going to do something. What was I going to do? Cannot remember. Yes, everything is organized here, Sergey. Indeed, it is. And hello, Lara. Hola. Okay, so how does this work? Today I'm really tired, so I don't have anything prepared, and I'm here to answer questions. So I'll do my part if you do your part. Okay? If you ask me a question, I'll do my best to answer. Okay? That's what I'm here for. That's why people come. I prefer good questions. Yes, I prefer good questions. How can I learn English is not a good question. In the meantime, I guess I'll just stand here and read a book. Sometimes we balk at embarking on an enterprise because we're afraid of being alone. We feel comfortable with the tribe around us. It makes us nervous going off into the woods on our own. Here's the trick: we're never alone. As soon as we step outside the campfire glow, Our muse lights on our shoulder like a butterfly. The act of courage calls forth infallibility, that deeper part of ourselves that supports and sustains us. Ah, not infallibility, infallibly. Is it The Old Man and the Sea? No. It's a book called The War of Art. You feel that your English is rusty, so give you advice. Your level is intermediate. Laura, are you new? If you're new, Laura, make sure you get the PDF file that I put in the chat. If you copy that link and then paste it into your browser, you can open it and you'll see a big file that I have that tells you who I am and what I'm doing and my schedule. And there are also 4 articles in that link. There are 4 articles that I wrote about tips to learn English. Okay, my 4 best tips are in that link. Okay? And Laura, I'm here Monday through Friday, and I have been on Hello Talk for 12 years, and I have been live streaming for more than 4, almost 5 years, something like that. And I have about 90,000 followers because I teach English. And hello, David. Hello, Rosangela. And Charisse. How to speak without an accent. Why do you need to speak without an accent? That's my question. Why do you need to speak without an accent? Sergey says, Old Man in the Sea teaches us patience. It does, but I'll tell you, it's much easier to learn patience if you just go fishing. So if you have to learn patience, you can read The Old Man and the Sea, which is it's about a man who goes fishing. Or you can just go fishing, and that will also teach you patience, and you'll probably learn the same things in The Old Man and the Sea. And The Old Man and the Sea is funny because it's a book that the author himself said it doesn't mean anything. I wrote it. It's a story about a man who goes fishing, and that's it. It's not supposed to have a deeper meaning. So Aina says, I want to be an actress to get rid of the accent. Okay, so that is a different story. If you want to be an actress, okay, then we need to talk about that. Then you do need to learn accents. You need to learn accents. And how do you learn accents? Well, part of it is listening, right? You have to listen to the accent to find what are the characteristics of that accent, right? But then there is a second part about accents that's very important. To create an accent, you need the right mouth movements. So that means every language has its own mouth movements, and you need to learn them, right? So there are certain sounds that happen in this language that don't happen in another language. Like in English, we have the TH sound, but not every language has the TH sound. Like Chinese doesn't have a TH. Okay, so that means when I speak Chinese, I use a small mouth when I speak because Chinese is a small mouth language. But when I speak English, I use a big mouth. I exaggerate. Okay, so the accent that I have is called the Mid-Ohio accent. There are 3 accents near where I live, but the one I have is the most standard. And That's usually that's the one that people want if they're talking. If they say I want an American accent, they want this one usually. But if you are studying accents, then you need to learn many accents. There are 30 different accents in the United States. More than 30, but at least 30. So, what I would say, Aina, is maybe choose one accent that you want to try to begin to mimic, and then start looking for good examples, people to listen to, models, people you can shadow, right? People you can watch and listen to and see how do they sound, how do they speak, right? That would be good. And then you need to think about the movements of the language. If you're speaking like me, then it's mostly about the vowel movements, but it's just about articulation. To articulate means to move your mouth very clearly, to make the sounds very clearly. Okay? So that's what I would say, Aina, is choose one accent and then start the process of learning the mouth movements and listen, 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 listen. You have to listen a lot so that you need to hear that sound. The sound of the language needs to live in your head. If you know what it's supposed to sound like up here, then you can get it closer when you want to make the movements. But if you are not clear about what it's supposed to be, the sound of the language up in your mind, if you don't have a clear idea, then it won't be clear when you speak it. Hello, Fluke. Hello, No Name. What would I advise you about preparing for an entrance exam on the English subject? Well, it depends on which entrance exam. Are you talking about the IELTS or the TOEFL, or which one exactly? And my advice would be study, but study well. So that means that you need to focus on your weaknesses. If you're good at reading and writing, then that is not what you need to practice. But that's what most people do. Students practice the things that they do well because it makes them feel good. If it's easy to do, then you feel good. But learning is not supposed to feel good all the time. As a matter of fact, learning is supposed to feel uncomfortable, I'd say about 75% of the time. Because if it's uncomfortable, it means you're pushing yourself forward. You're learning something. If it's comfortable, then it means you're not really learning anything. You're just there. Okay, you're not pushing boundaries at all. Okay, so focus on your weaknesses. Get good study materials. You can. There are 3 companies that make good study materials: Kaplan, Cambridge, and Barron's. Kaplan, Cambridge, and Barron's. Those 3 companies, any of the books they make are great for studying. I have one right here. Where is it? See? Now, a real English teacher has real books. Hello, Samira. Thank you very much. I'm fine. Hello, Romish. You understand what people are saying in English, but when you talk, you start stuttering. How can you fix this? Romish, do you stutter in your native language also, or only English? Hello, Kiyun. Do I have paid courses? I do, on my website. If you go to that file, get the file that's in the chat there, the pinned file, copy that link and open it in your browser. Everything that you need to know about me is in that link. So my schedule and who I am and my website and my YouTube channel and my blog, all of that's in that link. Okay? Romish, yes, I know you have a problem with conversation, but what I mean is, do you stutter? Where are you from? Is that Hungary? What flag is that? I forgot what flag that is. Tajikistan. Sorry. Okay. So Romish, do you stutter in English and in Tajik, or do you only stutter in English? Yeah, try again. There's the link there. Thank you, No Name. Only studying. Okay, so if you stutter when you speak English, but you don't stutter in your language, then it just means you're nervous. So, when you speak English, step one, look at me. This is a very important step. If you're going to speak English, then you need to understand that English is a performance. You don't know English very well now. So when you speak, it's a performance. You must perform. Okay? So the first thing you should do if you're going to perform is this. Okay? Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and relax. Okay? Take a deep breath and relax, because if you are relaxed, then you'll speak better. Then also, slow down. There is no race. There's no speed in language. You don't have to go fast. You think you need to go fast, but you don't. So, slow down, and then you'll have more time to think, and the words will come out more smoothly. Okay? Yesterday, I understood that I must concentrate solely on studying the Seattle accent, watching the interviews, because that's where you're going. The Seattle accent, there's not a very strong accent there from what I know. Most people in the Pacific Northwest, I think they sound mostly like me. Now, I think that the closer you get to Canada, they might have slightly more of a Canadian accent. But, excuse me, but mostly they sound like me in Seattle. Okay? Seattle doesn't really have a specific accent that I'm aware of. I could be wrong, but I've met people from there before, and I've never considered their accent. And if I haven't considered it, then that means it's probably like mine. How has English transformed from a local language into a global lingua franca? Okay, that's a fun question to answer. So lingua franca is a Latin term that means, well, it means language of the Franks, but the modern meaning is a common language, a language that everybody knows and understands and speaks so that we can communicate with each other. Okay? And how has it been transformed from a local language into a lingua franca? That's a long story. Mostly because of colonialism, imperialism, you know. The British, they spread English through most of the world by conquering. most of the world, or a lot of the world. and um, and then after that, it really did become kind of a product of popularity. English became popular because the popular products were in English. So it was kind of because of capitalism that English became so popular. I mean, initially it was because of colonialism, but then it was because of capitalism. And so, yeah, now it's a language that's used to communicate between people. So if I go to China, can I find someone who speaks Portuguese? Sure, I can. But would it be a lot easier for me to find someone who speaks English? Yeah. Okay. And what's the right direction for learning English? Get that file, and there are 4 articles in there, and they will tell you the right direction for learning English. Okay? Copy that link. Copy that link. Okay? The book I showed, what book did I show? Did I show a book? Oh, the IELTS book, right. Yeah, but that's an old one. It's called Barron's. You just go online to look up for Barron apostrophe S IELTS. Barron's IELTS. If you look up that online, you'll find the company. And this is an old one, but you can get a new one. Hello, Fabrizio. I'm glad. Obrigado. How's my day? I'm tired. I did not sleep well last night. I think I got about 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and I'm tired. But it happens. Such is life. But I'm otherwise fine. But I wrote a nice poem. Sometimes when I can't sleep, then maybe I get creative and I do something creative. So I wrote a poem. You should try to do creative things more often. Do you write poems? Do you write songs? Do you draw? Do you doodle? Do you write down ideas that you have? Why not? Aren't your ideas good? Write them down. Write them down. Madi, if you're new, then you can always go to my YouTube channel and you can watch when I'm finished. This will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can go watch it again. Okay? And if you are new, then please get that file that's in the pinned chat there. You see that pinned message? See if you can copy that link. Okay? Copy that link and go open that file. That file has everything you need to know about me. Who am I? What am I doing here? What's my schedule? All of those things. are in that link. Okay? There are also 4 articles from my blog that I wrote about English. Okay? The best ways to learn English. There are 4 articles. Read them. Okay? How is supposed to plus a verb usually used? It's not that complicated, Kiyun. He is supposed to go to the store. It's just like should. It's really just like should. He's supposed to go to the store. He should go to the store. Okay? It's almost like that, right? If you're supposed to do something, that's something that you are, that people think you're going to do, so you should. Right? Okay, so I'm supposed to write a letter. I'm supposed to go to bed. I'm supposed to sleep earlier. I'm supposed to take my medicine. I'm supposed to. It's not that hard. You can do it. Hello, Nora. Ni hao. You're having a latte, James? Well, cheers to that. Are my English lessons usually online or in person? Uh, well, now usually online. Now usually online, of course. But when I do private lessons, they're one-on-one private lessons. So it's me and you on a computer. My thoughts keep rolling at night like a snowball down a mountain. I like that, Daffy. See, that's poetic. That's poetic. You should write more. You should take that and turn that into something. My thoughts roll down. My thoughts keep rolling at night like a snowball down a mountain. Now, keep that going. What's the next part? That's a poem. You're writing a poem. You just started a poem. You just don't know it. You're a poet. You just don't know it. I can speak English pretty smoothly when making statements, but I sometimes get stuck when trying to form questions. What should I do? Well, you can take every statement and turn it into a question, right? So, I can speak English pretty smoothly when making statements. Now turn that into a question. Can you speak English pretty smoothly when making statements? Okay? It's called inversion, right? So just take every sentence that you see that's a statement and practice turning it into a question. Okay? Yeah. And then, this would be another thing you could ask ChatGPT to help you with, and ask it to show you different ways to ask a question in English, right? There are many different ways to ask a question, right? There are who, what, when, where, why, how, right? And there are other ways to ask questions too, right? Might you be going to the park later? That's a question. I didn't say who, what, when, where, why, or how. Right? So you can ask ChatGPT to show you some examples of ways to ask questions. Sometimes you need to see the examples, everybody. That's all. Okay? Can I recommend any books for English beginners by any author? You mean like a novel to read? To practice for fun, you mean? For beginners, I don't usually recommend books. If you're a beginner, a book might be too much for you. Okay, but there is a website that I recommend. It's called eslfast.com. eslfast.com. It's a free website, and on that website, they have about 3,000 or 4,000 free short stories. Okay, and they start with beginner level, very beginner. Okay, and it goes up to pretty advanced reading, but still short. Okay, so that gives you a lot of practice. And the great thing about this website is when you're learning something, you need to feel like you're making progress. Okay, that's why you need little homework assignments. You need little projects that you can do, because when you do them, you feel good, and that makes you want to do more. Right? So when we're talking about this, hold on one moment. I would say ESL Fast is great because you can read one of those stories in 2 to 5 minutes. You can read one story. So that means that you can read 5 or 10 per day if you want to. And then you feel like, oh, look, I did 10 stories today. That's awesome. I feel good. I read 10 stories, right? You feel like you're making progress. So sometimes if you read one book, that's great, but that's like climbing a huge mountain. But you could also just go for a hike 100 times. That's also impressive. Okay? So try going for a hike. Don't climb the mountain. Try reading a short story instead of reading a whole book. Okay? The words that start with ARC, are they probably about science? Well, that depends on the word. An arc is a mathematical term. It's a part of a curved line. Part of a curved line that's an arc. Okay? So that is a scientific mathematical term. But then the words that are surrounding the term arc, like arcade, arcana, arcane, arch, so yeah, the word arc is related to science in that sense, but the other words that are also starting with ARC, some of them do have to do with science and some of them not really. Okay? Fear isn't the problem. Anxiety is what makes it worse, what makes people worse. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of fear and anxiety. I think you have anxiety because you have fear, and the fear is because you're afraid of making mistakes and being embarrassed and being made fun of. So that's fear, and that gives you anxiety. They're usually linked. Hello, Esther. Hello, Ricardo. I'm fine. How are you? Hello, Almas. Thank you, Nora. How's life going? Chaotically. Apocalyptically. Now, the words archaeology and architect are kind of interesting um, because, for example, there it is. It comes from the word archaeo, which is archaeo comes from Greek archaios, which means ancient or primeval. And then ology means the study or science of something. So archaeology means the study or science of ancient things. And architecture or architect, that one is different, not related. That one comes from the word archon in Greek. Archon means chief or boss, and tekton means builder. So architect in Greek meant chief builder. Hello, Miguel, and hello, Awaji, and hello, Nelia. Oh, Nelly Ramirez. Hello, Nelly. Couldn't read it. It's too small. Okay. What's the difference between in fact and as a matter of fact? Uh, Nothing. Nothing. Style. That's it, really. As a matter of fact, blah, 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 blah. In fact, blah, 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 blah. It's style, it's preference. Kiyun, remember that this is like music. If you play the saxophone, does everyone play the saxophone the same way? No. This guy has his own sound. He has certain notes that he likes to play that other people don't like as much. Okay, we call them licks in music. They're called licks. A lick is a personal way that you play a certain thing. Okay, and so everybody has different licks. All right, in language it's the same. So some people might prefer to say as a matter of fact, and some other people might prefer to say in fact. But really, they don't have much difference, and you could use either or both, or you can choose the one you feel you like. Okay? And hello, Miguel and Wakil. Well, hello, Vadim. It's nice to see you again. Welcome home. As a matter of fact, sounds a bit more formal or sophisticated. Maybe. But I don't really think so. Both of these Kiyun, I have used both of these in casual situations and in formal situations. You know, like if I'm talking with my band and we're talking about what to do, you know, about something, I might say, well, as a matter of fact, I just saw this advertisement the other day. We should look at it. That's casual. Okay? But I could be talking, you know, with so it really depends on the context. I could say, as a matter of fact, and then I could say something very academic, then it would sound more formal, right? So these two terms, I think that they could be both casual or formal. It depends on what you say next. Okay? It depends on what you say next. Licks is Licks. Licks. Like, lick. To lick something. Okay? Yeah, that's a musical term. It's a slang term. It's a slang term. If you see a guitar player and he does something crazy like, you know, whatever, right? And you can say, wow, that was an incredible lick. Man, his licks are amazing. Okay, that's a slang term in music. Or sometimes we also call them chops. He's got amazing chops, or he has amazing licks. Chops means more like skill, ability, facility, technical ability. Hello, WM. I'm doing as well as anyone can. Chops is CHOPS. Yeah, Joe Satriani, right. That's right. Satriani plays a lot of licks. And Satriani has great chops. I love Satriani. He has a beautiful song called Rubina. I love that song. Jonathan Mover is a drummer he used to work with, and I met him years ago. Many, many years ago, I met his drummer. I think I was like 21, 22. Beautiful song. Is there any difference between saying a word or a sentence at level A1 or C2? Does saying it at level C2 make us seem cooler? No. C2 vocabulary is very, very special vocabulary. C2 is only used for like the highest, most academic places. All right? So when you're using C2 vocabulary, let me show you what C2 vocabulary looks like. Okay? Wait a minute. Look at this. This is C2 level vocabulary. Human cognition operates at the intersection of perception, abstraction, and linguistic encoding, forming a dynamic system through which individuals interpret and construct reality. Language in this context is not merely a communicative apparatus, but a generative framework that both reflects and shapes thought. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, while often overstated in its strongest form, nonetheless gestures toward a fundamental truth. The structures available within a language can delimit or expand the range of a conceptualization accessible to its speakers. That's C2. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. This is what we call there's something called diminishing returns. Do you guys know what diminishing returns means? Diminishing returns, the law of diminishing returns. Sometimes when you do something, the more you do it, the less valuable it becomes. So in this case, this is true. Language, in the beginning, you have baby language, and it doesn't have a lot of value because it's too basic, right? Baby language is too basic, so it's not very valuable. But then you start learning, and it becomes more valuable because more people can understand you, and more people can relate to you, right? But then you keep learning, and now you're in the B1, B2 neighborhood. Okay, that's where most language lives, is in B1, B2. That's where almost all the language is in that neighborhood. Then we get up to C1 and C2. Now, C1 is still pretty useful, but it does become more exclusionary, which means it becomes language that fewer people will understand, not more people. So in the beginning, your language is a baby language. Not many people can understand you because it's not good, right? So not many people can understand you. But then you learn more and more people understand you. And you're at B2 and more people understand you. But then you go to C1 and now some people don't know C1. So less people understand you. Then you go to C2 and even fewer people know C2. So that's the law of diminishing returns. Okay? Sometimes you're thinking that C2 means it's the best, but it is not necessarily the best. It's just the highest. All right? So C2 level vocabulary is usually, if you're in a graduate level college program or a PhD level college program, if you're writing dissertations, if you're studying in academia, high level academic stuff, that is C2. Okay? But I'm going to tell you a very important rule. Simple words spoken well are always better than complicated words spoken poorly. Let me say that again. Simple words spoken well are always better than complicated words spoken poorly. Sometimes you want to use the big word because you think, oh, if I use the big word, people will think I'm smart. People will think I'm cool because I use this cool word. But if you don't use it exactly right, then you don't look cool. You look like a fool. Okay? So sometimes you're trying to use the hard word and you are trying too hard. And now you're not cool, you're a fool. All right? So use the simple language because people can understand that. Simple language always works. Complicated language only works sometimes. Okay? Yeah, so we all know the word simplification, to simplify something, right? Well, I also created my own word, and it describes the law of diminishing returns in language, and it's called complexification. So simplification means to make something more simple so it can be more easily understood. That's simplification. Complexification is the opposite, where you make language more difficult so it's not easy to understand. And this happens a lot. Almost every field, every industry, they feel like you can't be serious unless you can use academic level language about your industry. But sometimes you're using academic level language when you don't need to and it just sounds stupid. You know, if you're making tennis shoes, you don't need to describe that with academic level language. Okay? Yeah, simplification and complexification. Yeah, but you won't find that word in the dictionary because I made it up. I coined it. It's called coining a word. To coin a word. Okay, let me see. Please be patient. I'm going back to read the comments. What you mentioned in one of your articles about brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand is very interesting. Yeah, Jandis, this is something that nobody ever tries, nobody ever thinks about, but it's something that drummers do, right? Every drummer, when we learn the drums, we learn how good our strong hand is compared to our weak hand. Usually it's your right hand is so much better than your left hand, and it's obvious when you play the drums. It's very difficult to figure this out if you're not doing drums, but that's what we would do. Is my teacher I think I was 15 years old, and he said, just go home and start brushing your teeth every morning with the other hand. Start opening the doors with the other hand. Start typing things with the other hand. Start doing something with the other hand. Can you write your name with your other hand? You know, the coordination is not there because you didn't try. But if you start trying, you will get that coordination. So I can eat chopsticks. I can use chopsticks with my right hand or my left hand. No problem. I can brush my teeth with my right hand or my left hand. No problem. Okay? Okay. And chops does mean steak sometimes. It can mean pork chop. Yeah, chicken chop. That's right. Beef chop. Sometimes it can be. It also has another meaning that can mean facial hair. Sometimes we say nice chops. It means you have big, thick hair coming here, but just here. Not here at all. Just kind of like big, thick hair like on the side. Those are sometimes called chops. And the reason why is because it's shaped like a pork chop. Is there no distinction between casual and formal words, even if they have the same meaning? No, there's a big distinction. There's a huge distinction between casual and formal words in most cases. So yeah, there are some places where you want to use the formal word and some places where you want to use the casual word. Natalia says, I can understand, but I have difficulty speaking fluently. I get tangled up and think in Spanish. So you just answered your own question. Natalia, you need to practice thinking in English more. If you cannot think in English, then yes, you'll translate and then you get mixed up. So you have to start training your brain to think in English when you speak English. And I know it's hard, but you can do it. Okay? Hello, Bruce. And Samira, it's diminishing. D-I-M-I-N-I-S-H-I-N-G. Okay, please be patient. I'm catching up with the comments. Like Lemmy of Motorhead. That's funny. What's the difference between a synonym and a homonym? Bo, you look like you should know that answer. Why don't you know that answer? Synonym means it has the same meaning. Homonym means it has the same sound. Are you testing me, Bo? No, they're different, man. They're very different. One is about the meaning and the other is about the sound. Synonym means together, syn meaning together, and nym meaning name. So it means they have the same name, meaning the same meaning, okay? But homonym, homo meaning the same sound, right? So in this case, it's the name is the same, right? Get it? Do you understand? Like happy and joyful, those are synonyms, but they're not homonyms. Okay? But the word there, T-H-E-R-E, and the word there, T-H-E-I-R, homonyms. For example, uh, oh, no, no, no. I made a mistake. Wait, wait, wait. I'm so sorry. I told you I'm tired today. Homonym is not that. Homonym is not the one that sounds the same. It's two words that have the same exact spelling, same exact pronunciation, two different meanings. So, for example, the word bat. A bat is an animal, right? There's a bat flying. Look at the bats in the cave. There's bats flying, right? But then, yeah, homophone. Thank you, Esther. That's what I meant. Homophone is the one that's the same sound. Homonym is the one that he's asking about, which is like a bat that flies in a cave and a baseball bat. Okay, and like a rock that you throw. Like here's a rock. This is a rock. Okay, or rock music, spelled the same, sound the same, two different meanings. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I apologize. I told you I'm tired. My brain is not fully functioning today. Hello, John, over there. I sound good when I pronounce the R in your last name? Nelly Ramirez. I can't roll my R's though. I'm not. That's the one thing I cannot do in linguistics. I cannot roll my R's. Okay. Let's see. How many rooms do I open per day? James, get the file. One per day, usually. Teaching. I only teach once per day. Okay, in the morning, Monday through Friday, usually. Okay. The beverage is it's well it's coffee. It was iced coffee. Now it's not iced. It's just coffee. Okay. I'm looking cowboy. This looks cowboy? It does? Okay. I wasn't aware that this is a cowboy look. Is it because of the brown? Does it look like leather or something? It's not leather. Okay, again, if you have questions, you should ask me. That's what I'm here for. Okay? And very quickly, I want to say something. Yesterday, when I was doing my live stream, I got a little bit excited, a little bit animated, and I do that sometimes. You know, I'm a very animated teacher. Okay, animated. What does animated mean? What's that mean? When I say animated, what does that mean? Yeah, full of energy. That's right. Yeah. And sometimes when people see my energy, they don't like it. Sometimes people think that I'm rude or that I'm angry or that I'm upset or something. No. No, it's not that. It's that I care. That I like teaching and that I like to do it well. And sometimes you need to create a sense of urgency, to create a sense of seriousness about what we're doing here. So I like to laugh. Sure, I like to make jokes. Sure. But everybody knows I'm very serious about what I do here. And sometimes, if you've never seen me before and you don't know me and you walk into the room, you come into the room and you see some guy yelling, you think, who is this crazy, rude guy? That's all right. I understand. It does look crazy and it does look rude. It's all right. But it's not. It's just me. It's just me. All right? Call it a cultural difference. All right? Sometimes I'm a bit in your face. Does animated have to move a lot too? Yeah, to be animated usually means that you're moving a lot. That's why we call them animated movies. An animated movie is like a cartoon, and they're drawing the movement, right? That's the animation. Okay, so to be animated is to be, you move a lot, you got a lot of energy. All right? Now, I think most people, they know. Most people, if you watch me for a couple of times, you will know what I'm like. You'll see what I'm like. But sometimes people just don't take the time. Miss B says, it's okay, teacher. Sometimes you just need to stop because this lesson is for us. Well, that's true. However, part of my job is to challenge you. Part of my job is to push you. And sometimes the person who doesn't understand, I won't give up on them right away. I don't give up on anybody right away, ever. So I'll try to see if they can get it, you know. But yesterday there was one girl who just didn't get it. She just thought I was really rude. It's all right. She'll get over it. Yeah. Let's see. What is the meaning of a cowboy? Cowboy is not a bull. No, a cowboy is an old word. We use it a little bit now, but it's mostly an old word, and it's about a guy who works out in the wild areas of the western parts of the United States. Okay, so the guy who rode the horse and he had the big cowboy hat, right? And maybe he has a lasso that he can rope the animals with, right? And maybe he has a gun, right? That's a cowboy. It doesn't mean someone from Texas. No. A cowboy can be from almost anywhere, especially out west. Anywhere out west. Okay? It's not a boy cow. No, that's called a bull. A boy cow is called a bull. Okay? B-U-L-L. Okay? Yeah, like Clint Eastwood would be like the old Clint Eastwood movies. That's right. Those are cowboy movies. Okay? Now, do we have any of those people now? No, we don't. No, we don't. Yeah, John Wayne. That's right. He's a cowboy. Right. Okay? Eddie says, I think only the Texas cowboy can have the weapon on the street with no ammo. Nope. That's not true, Eddie. Again, guys, there are no cowboys anymore. Not really. That's 100 years ago. All right? Cowboys are a long time ago. That's not really a thing now. We don't really have cowboys anymore. Not really. Okay? So that's all romantic thing. And most of that is all romantic idea that you see in the movies. It's not really that way. It's just the movies. It's a movie. It's not real. All right? Okay? It's a tradition that's the Wild West. I know, Eddie. I'm from here. Okay? Let me do the explaining about how my culture works. All right, you're from Los Angeles. Fine. But I'm from Ohio. That's closer to cowboy country. All right? Okay, let me go back. I missed some comments or questions. Wait a minute. This app taught me to slow down sometimes when I enter live streams for the first time and listen and observe before participating. And that's why you're a good student, Samira. That is the sign of someone who's smart. You go into a room and you wait and you listen first. That's smart. Very smart. Okay? The best techniques for memorizing words. David, I don't memorize words, man. David, why didn't you go read my articles? There is an article about vocabulary that you need to read that I wrote. You should read it. Have I thought to make my own application for learning English? No. Making an application, it's not as easy as you think, everybody. Sure, you can make an app, but it's a lot more than that, okay? Getting the funding to make an app it's a lot. So making an app is not such an easy thing. And I'm just one guy, okay? Yes, I am a drummer, so yes, I like playing the drums. We still have some cowboy aspects like jeans. Well, yeah, but jeans are not from cowboys, actually. Jeans got popular maybe because of cowboys, but jeans are not from cowboys. Let me find the story originally. Uh, 17th century workwear from France. So they were made first in France, and they were made from material from Genoa, from Italy. So the first patent was in 1873 by Levi Strauss. That's the big company, Levi's, right? And they were for U.S. miners. The first people who used them were not cowboys, they were miners. The guys who dig, okay? Okay, so, Eddie, the West, man, is a big place. It's not just Texas. It's Texas, it's Oklahoma, it's Wyoming, it's South Dakota, it's North Dakota. It's all of that stuff. That's the West, man. The West is all over there, okay? And all of those places have cowboys. All of them have cowboys, all right? Now, again, it's not all that popular anymore. And as far as the guns and ammo, it's not just Texas. There are other states where you can open carry. It's called open carry, where yes, you can have a gun on the street and walk down the street openly with a gun. A handful of states are like that in the West. Okay, there are a bunch of them like that, all right? But again, guys, this kind of culture is kind of old. It's not really a thing anymore. You know, there are a few people who consider themselves cowboys, but they're more ranchers than cowboys. I don't really think the term cowboy really counts anymore. Okay? I have been to, we have 50 states, and I have been to 40... 44 of them? I think I've been to 44 of them. So I've seen most of the United States. I've been to most of the United States. Yes, jeans were made by Levi Strauss. Strauss, where's that from? That doesn't sound like, that sounds German or Austrian. German-born American businessman. So Levi Strauss was a German-born American businessman who made the pants first, I guess, in San Francisco, but the first jeans were actually made in France. Okay. And yes, you know, still popular. I wear jeans almost exclusively. It's kind of an American thing. Americans do like to wear jeans, right? That's how you can spot the American when you're in Europe, right? If you see the guy walking around with jeans, probably an American. Do I give concerts outside? What do you mean? Do you mean do I perform live? I don't that much anymore, but I did for more than 20 years. Yeah. I still have a band and we make recordings. We record our music, but we don't perform that much anymore. It's not worth it anymore. The amount of money they pay and the amount of work it is, it's not worth it, unfortunately. But from the time that I was 18 years old, oh, I'd say until I'd say from 18 to 35, the main way that I made my living was playing drums. From 18 to 35 years old. The last concert that I did was actually in Idaho. I played at a big ski resort in Idaho last year, something like that. That was fun. It's not worth it. How can you use gallery? Gallery does have many different meanings. An art gallery is the first meaning. When you go to an art gallery, that's the place that has art and you walk around and you look at the art, right? That's an art gallery. So gallery is a place that has many pictures. So on your phone, you have the gallery. That's the place with many pictures. Okay? So gallery is usually a place with many pictures. Okay? Man, I am really tired. All right. What's next? Inversion grammar. What you want me to explain? You want me to talk about inversion grammar, the grammar inversion? I need to sleep. Yeah, well. Yes, please. Okay, so inversion is pretty simple. It's the most basic, like if I say you are tired, that's you are tired. To invert it, I just say, are you tired? You are tired. Are you tired? That's inversion, right? So I could say, I have never seen such a beautiful sunset. Or I could say, never have I ever seen such a beautiful sunset. Okay? Never have I seen. You don't have to say never have I ever. Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. Or I could say, I seldom hear someone with such talent, or seldom does one hear someone with such talent. Okay, so it's just practicing how many ways can you say this one thing. Okay? What does seldom mean? It means not often. Not often. And seldom is kind of interesting. Seldom used to be selden, selden, E-N. And it was the opposite of often, often and selden. Okay, so now we've changed the word over time. Selden became seldom. But it's pair. It's a pair. Often, selden. Often, selden. Okay? Yeah, so seldom and often are opposites. Okay? And you've heard I say before, do I look nervous? My question is, why did you use the verb to do instead of to be? Well, when you want to say things that are actions, you'd use doing. When you want to say things that are states, you use be, right? So, for example, you want to say be for any state of being or an identity or a location. So, for example, she is happy. They are students. He is at home, right? Or she was sleeping. What are you doing? Okay, those are all states of being. Okay, or their locations, their states of being. It's a continuous action of some kind. Okay, but when you're actually use do, so it's. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get my words right in my head. Use do for questions. Use do for negatives. Do not, right? Use do for emphasis with action verbs. So, for example, do you play soccer? Yes, I do. Okay, do you? We're asking about an action, not a state. Are you happy is a state. It's a state of being, happiness. Do you play soccer? That's a thing that you do. It's an action. Okay? Do I know Mind Your Language, the comedy drama? It sounds familiar. I think I know it. I think I've heard of it before. Isn't the word nervous an adjective? Nervous is an adjective, but it is also, that's a good question. Okay, now I see why you're confused. Wait a minute. Let me look at something very quickly. Oh, so in this case, the reason why, if I say, are you nervous? That's the form of be. But when I said, do I look nervous? I'm asking you to look. So the do is talking about the looking, not about the nervousness. Understand? Right? They're looking at me to see if I'm nervous. Okay? All right. I heard the winners are based off of what movie had the biggest revenue. I get confused of what the phrase based off of means. It means from. I heard the winners are from what movie had the biggest revenue. So they're choosing from. Okay? What are they choosing from? The movies that had the biggest revenue. That's what it's based off of. So based off of means to look at something and use that as your judgment or your ruling or your somehow that's your model. Okay? Oh, so inversion with conditionals. I think the best place for you to do that is on the website. Did you go to the website gametolearnenglish.com? Go to the website gametolearnenglish.com and then go down here, and there is a game here, right here, conditional sentences. Okay, let's view. Look, if the sun is bright, then wear sunglasses. That's first conditional. If I were old, then I would use a wheelchair. That's second conditional. If I had brought an umbrella, then I would be dry. That's third conditional, right? So first conditional is talking about what? If the sun is bright, then wear sunglasses. So it's something that's real and real. Something that's true and true, right? If the sun is bright, then do something real, right? Second conditional, if I were old, then I would use a wheelchair. Both of these are not true. You're not old. But if you were, what would you do? That's also not true. It's not real. It's fantasy. It's imagination. So, second conditional is for things that are not true, that you're imagining, that you could do. Okay? Possibilities. And third conditional is talking about if I had brought an umbrella, then I would be dry. So again, it's something that you didn't do, but if you did, then you'd have another outcome, a different thing, right? If I had brought an umbrella, then I would be dry. I didn't bring an umbrella, so I am wet. Okay? But if you go here, you can practice these, and they have a whole game here. Look.
If the sun is bright.
If the sun is bright, then what?
Then
what?
Wear sunglasses. If it snows,
then
make a snowman. If it is windy, then fly a kite.
Okay? So I would go there and practice there, gametolearnenglish.com.
If you sunbathe,
okay? Okay, Princess Rabbit, slow down. You're being too greedy today. Calm down. All right? I've already answered a bunch of your questions. All right? I need to answer some other people's questions too. Please be patient. This is a very important thing in my classroom. If you're going to be here, you need to remember that you are not the only one here. I don't like it when students treat me like everybody else is not here, only me. I'm here. Talk to me. I have questions. Forget about them. I don't like that. Okay? You have to remember you are in a classroom. Pay attention to everyone, not just yourself. Okay? And here's what I'm going to do for you. Okay, this is a great page about inversion and conditionals for you. I'm too tired to teach this entire page today, but you can go here and you're smart and you can do it. That's the link you need, okay? I promise you that's a British Council. It's a British Council page. It's a good page. It will explain it for you clearly, okay? All right. Wa alaikum assalam. 1977. What's 1977? I'm not sure what that came from. In favor of, is that to be used instead of in order to? No. No, in favor of is when you say you have a choice of something, like we could go to Johnson Park or Smith Park, but most people are in favor of going to Johnson Park. Okay, and so it'd be to be in favor of. It means the favor, the favor of the king, right? This is where we get the word favorite from, right? My favorite is something that you like a lot. It's the one you like the most is your favorite, right? So this word comes from, if you had someone's favor, it means they liked you. They favored you. So they were nicer to you. So the king would favor you, which means he's nicer to you. You are his favorite. Okay? So to favor something means you like it more. You prefer it. Okay? Orenbeck, hello, my friend. Long time no see. Okay. Do I have Chinese friends for regular communication? Kind of. I have lots of Chinese friends, but I don't speak Chinese with them most of the time. They never want to speak Chinese with me. They always speak English whenever I speak to them. And when I speak Chinese to them, they speak English back. So it doesn't really help usually. Yeah. Most of the practice that I get when my Chinese practice is usually when I'm teaching. Like if I'm teaching a lesson, sometimes I'm teaching a Chinese person, and so I'll use Chinese sometimes to explain things or to clarify things, and then I can practice. Kiki, yes, great website. Games to Learn English is an awesome website. Yeah, very fun. And hello, Waleed. You want to speak Chinese, but you never do. Goodbye, Esther. Take care. Are American English and English, so I think you mean British English and American English, and yes, they are different accents. There are 30 different American accents, and there are about 50 or 60 British accents. But the standard British accent, what's called RP pronunciation, received pronunciation, is the King's English. That is different than my pronunciation now is the standard American accent. Okay? Let me check my comments over here in my YouTube. And hello to my YouTube people. Thank you for watching over in YouTube. Can I recommend a channel for shadowing? This one. TED Talks. TED Talks are great for shadowing. So I would check out TED Talks. I don't have a lot of recommendations for YouTube or TikTok or anything like that because I don't watch YouTube. I don't go to TikTok. I don't spend any time on YouTube or TikTok ever, other than doing my own stuff, right? When I post stuff on YouTube, then I'm on YouTube. But I don't really watch YouTube videos. I don't really go look for YouTube people, so I don't know who is out there. But what I can tell you is you just need to pay attention to the right things. Don't watch somebody because they're cool. Watch someone because their language is careful. Careful language. Look for people who have care in the way they speak. That is who you want to follow. All right? If you hear somebody and when you hear them, you think, man, I wish I sounded like that. I want to listen to them. I don't care what they say. They just sound good. I would listen to them all day. Listen to that person, right? If you find somebody like that, then that means that they sound good. All right? All right. Would anyone like to come on stage to talk to me? Although it's probably not a great idea because I'm tired. But I'll risk it. I'll risk it if somebody would like to ask me a question on stage. But you have to have a question. You have to have a question. You cannot come on my stage and just say, hey, what's up? All right? You have to ask me something. All right? Sultan wants to ask me something. Sultan, you have a question, right? I'm going to assume you have a question because I said you must have a question. Hello, Sultan.
Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What
Assalamu
about you?
alaikum. I'm fine. I'm fine. And you're in KSA, yeah?
Yeah, I'm from KSA, Saudi Arabia.
Are you in Riyadh or Mecca or where?
No, actually, I am between Medina and Riyadh. It's
Okay.
the from Qasim regions.
Okay. And what can I do for you today? How can I help you?
Yeah, I need your advice because I have been learning English for many times. I have been in South Africa for 5 times and in Kuala Lumpur like more than 10 times. And I spend a lot of money. I spend a lot of times, effort, but actually I didn't reach the level which is I deserve or I'm looking for it.
Okay. And I can tell you why. Because when you speak English, are you thinking in English or are you thinking in Arabic? Do you
I thinking in English.
Okay, right now you're thinking in English. Okay, that's good. That's
Yes,
good. That's a good
yes.
step. So here's the problem. How often do you speak English?
You know, it's because it's I'm often I'm usually travel, but once I was in Saudi Arabia, it's very rare to speak English.
Right. So if you cannot speak English where you live, then you have to find another way to practice English where you live, right? So,
Right?
so let me ask you a question. If you go to the moon, what language should you think in on the moon?
The moon and the sky.
If you go to the moon in the sky, is there a
I don't.
language? Is there a language there?
Yeah, I don't need the language. I
There
need to
is
go
no
to there
language, right?
to see the view.
There is no language there. So that means if you go to the moon, you can use any language in your mind, right? Any,
Right?
right? So guess what? You can use any language now in your mind where you are. So
Yes.
I live in the United States, but I practice Chinese every day because I just think in Chinese. So
Maybe.
if I'm hungry, I'll think about it in Chinese and think I'm hungry in Chinese. When I'm tired, I'll think about it in Chinese and say I'm hungry or I'm tired in Chinese, right? So everything I do every day, I try to think in the language. And so this is like, Sultan, languages are like pools of water, okay? And when you speak Arabic, you're in the Arabic pool. You're in that water, right? And you're spending all the time in that Arabic pool. So that means your Arabic is very comfortable. It's very good. But you need to spend more time in the English pool so that you can get more comfortable with that English water, right? So that means if you cannot practice speaking, then you need to practice another way. And the way you can do that is by thinking. You can think all day. All day. Think about how much practice you can do if you practice English in your head all day.
Yes, it's because I'm a pharmacist. I'm working in the hospital, and I talk with the doctor nurse in English, and most of times when I like get to know some words, some vocabulary, I use it. But what's the problem? Like after 2, 3, 4 days, I didn't remember any word.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because you practiced it when you were speaking, but then you stopped, and now you're back in your mind is in the Arabic water again. So you forgot. So Sultan, here's what you're doing. You're studying English, right? You're studying, but then you take that English and you put it in a box, and then you go and you open the closet and you put your English in the closet and you close the door. So now your English is away, and it's not growing at all. It's collecting dust. And then what happens is somebody speaks English to you, and now you say, "Oh no, my English, where's my English? I have to go get it. Let me go get my English. Hold on." And then you dust it off and you say, "Oh, how do I do this again? I can't remember." Right? Because you put it away. You put your English away. That's why I'm saying practice thinking, and you never put it away.
Yeah, you are absolutely right.
Okay? If you always think, then you're not putting it away, then it's ready. Then the words will not be gone. They're still there. They're fresh. You didn't put them away.
Yeah, but what's the problem? The problem here, everyone here speak Arabic. If
I
I go to
know.
the supermarket,
That's okay, but you're not talking to them. You're not talking to them, man. I'm saying I go to the supermarket, and when I go to the supermarket, in my head, I'm speaking Chinese to myself. And I'm saying, "Oh, today, what do I need to buy?" Or I'll say, "Oh, why is that so expensive?" 这个东西就是为
I
什
talk
为
with
什么太
who?
贵
I
了？
talk with who?
Yourself.
Myself.
In your mind. In your mind. No
You
talking.
know, once,
No talking.
know,
No talking. Only here.
one time I talked with myself and my mom saw me and you told me, "Are you crazy,
Okay,
Sultan?"
no. Okay, first of all, you're not crazy if you talk to yourself. I talk to myself all the time. But Sultan, you're not listening to me. Listen, I don't
Okay.
want you to speak. I want you to think in English. Nobody can hear you thinking. Nobody can hear you. So you can think in English all day. Okay, so when you wake up in the morning tomorrow, I want you to think in English and say, "How is the weather today?" In English, think about it. Think.
Okay.
Is it hot today? Is it cold today? Then I want you to think in English, in your mind. Think, what do I have to do today? Today, I need to do what? And then think, in English, what do you do? And Sultan, if you cannot think it, now you know what your homework is. You can say, "Oh, I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to think that. Let me write this down and figure it out. Let me study that." Okay? And then once you study it, then you can think it, then you can practice it. Okay?
Wow. It's really nice idea.
So, when you learn a language, you can practice reading and writing and listening and speaking, but you can also practice thinking. And thinking is the most important one, because if you cannot think about English well, then how can you write it or read it or speak it or listen well? Right? Thinking is like what you stand on. You're standing on thinking. That's reading, writing, listening, speaking. They're all on thinking. So you have to learn how to think in the language and not translate. Not
Oh, I
translate.
didn't use it. Okay.
Okay?
Sometime I need to translate if I don't understand or if I don't figure out what's the meaning of the word.
Okay, and then that's your homework. That's your
Homework.
homework. That's your homework. That's so then you'll go home and you'll say, "Oh, I don't know how to say this in English. Let me translate. I'll translate and then study the English. So then next time you don't need to translate."
Yeah.
Okay? And just start simple, Sultan. Start simple.
Okay. I
Tomorrow,
will start.
I
Okay.
want you to walk around tomorrow and I want you to look around your world and say, how do I say that in English? Can I say that in English? How do I say that in English? How do I say that in English? Just look around and in your mind, I want you to think about,
Yeah.
how do I say that? How do I say that? Can I say that? Can I say that? If you can, great. If you can't, that's your homework. Write it down. Study it.
Oh, nice.
Okay?
I will do that. I will do that. I will start from tomorrow, and after some time, I will back to you, and I will tell you what will be happening.
There's an article. Do you see that link that I put in the chat there? There's a pinned link. Okay?
Yes.
Copy that and paste that into your browser. That's my file. That's my FAQ file. It's everything about me. It tells you my schedule, tells you who I am, what time am I here, and it also has 4 articles that I wrote in there. One of those articles is about the thing that we just talked about how to think in English. Another article is about the 8 parts of language that you need to know to study English. Another article is about how to learn vocabulary. Okay, so there are four great articles in that link. Go get that link, copy it, paste it, open it in your browser, and then read that file. Okay?
Okay. Okay. I would like to thank you,
You're welcome.
Teacher Mar. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. I'll say afwan.
Thank you. Shukran. Shukran.
All right, take care, my friend. I'll see you next time, okay?
Thank you. See you,
Bye-bye.
inshallah. Bye.
Okay. All right, take those off my head. Yeah, if you're new, please get the file, get the file, get the file. All right? If you don't know who I am, get that file and read it, and you'll see who I am. All right? Yes, Waleed, another Waleed. Get that file, Waleed, right here. This file, that's my file. That's all about me. Everything there, everything you need to know about me and what we're doing here, it's right there in that file. All right? I am hardly perfect, but thank you, Saya. That's nice of you to say. And yes, again, I am an English teacher. I have been on Hello Talk for more than 12 years. I've been here on Hello Talk. And I have been streaming here for maybe 4 or 5 years. And I have been teaching English since 2009. And I have been a teacher since 1994. I started teaching in 1994. Okay? So I've been teaching a long time. All right? And about 90,000 people follow me here on Hello Talk. You also started teaching in 2009. Okay. All right. I have 10 more minutes, so I'm going to try to let's talk to Samira. Boss, I see you raising your hand, but I don't think I'm going to have time to talk to you today. But please, boss, make sure that you get my file because I think you're new. All right. And new people have to read the file. I don't talk to you unless you read my file first. Okay. If you read my file, I will talk to you. But if you have not read my file, go read the file first, then I will talk to you, okay? But let's talk to Samira for a minute. Hello, Samira.
Hi, teacher.
How are
I
you?
hope you are doing well.
I'm doing as well as you can. So, today, these days, everybody's is living in a crazy world. So we're all doing nobody's doing perfectly, I don't think, but we're all doing the best we can, right?
Yes, that's right.
So what can I do for you today?
I want to discuss a point with you, please.
Okay.
You said today in the live stream, you said that simple words that has spoken well is will be better than complicated words that spoken in a poor way.
Yes.
That reminds me of something mentioned also here on Hello Talk while I was listening to a teacher here. And we were reading a book, and that book mentioned something about also the good message is the message that a kid can comprehend it. So because it's using like simple words and clear words. Yeah, and at the same time, because I'm still learning English, so my words when I write articles, it always will be like simple words. So I think my friends also they are learning English, so can comprehend my ideas.
Okay. So you want to know how to write it in a more academic way. You want to know how to practice writing in a simple way or in a more difficult way, right?
No, actually, I prefer. I don't know. I prefer writing in simple words, but add some like experience in writing, like make the reader can like have this imagination when he read my words. That's what I prefer in my writing. But sometimes when we read articles here, when we practice our English with a teacher and read articles, they are like very long articles. If I read it alone, I won't finish it. Yeah, but when we read it as groups, it will motivate us to read them. So what is, in your opinion, and I know you write and you have a blog and write there, what in your opinion, what is better? Is it to like add more details about our experiences in our articles, or it's better to keep it more simple?
Well, and it depends completely on the article. It depends on what you're writing. So this is why what I was going to suggest, Samira, is that when you have an assignment, a writing assignment, if you want to write a story about something, can you write it in different voices? Can you write it with a different voice? Like, for example, if I say, okay, write it with simple language. I want it very simple. Okay, great. Can you do that? Yes, I can. Fine. Great. Now, I want you to write it again, but I want you to write it with very hip, cool language. Like, maybe it uses a lot of slang. Can you do that? And then write it again, but write it with a very high academic standard. Right? So this is called stylistic writing, okay? And again, this is something that we do in music. Sometimes I'll take a song that's a rock song. It's a rock song, but then I'll try to play it with a different style, like jazz or some other kind of music, right? And it's a challenge for me to try to see, can I do this song but in a different style? Right? So this is something that you can practice with writing also, is can I write something that's serious? Can I write something that's whimsical? Can I write, so you can try a mood, right? And there are many fun exercises you can do to practice this, Samira. So for example, you can try colors, okay? I want to show you a fun trick. I used to do this when I was younger. I would put colors up in front of me when I was playing the drums, and I would look at that color and play that color.
That's interesting.
So if it's red,
Yeah.
what does red mean to me? What does red feel like?
Yeah.
And I would try to make red,
sure.
make the sound of red when I'm playing. And blue, blue feels more calm and relaxed to me. Let me make the sound of blue. Let me find that sound, right? Now you can do that with writing too. You can say, let me put up a color red and write something with the feeling of red. Let me put up the color blue and write something with the color blue. Or let me put up a picture of my grandmother and write something that has the feeling that my grandmother is with me somehow. Something that inspires you to feel a certain way. Use that to change the way you write.
Yes, that's
You can put
very
on a
interesting
song,
because-
right? You can put on a song like classical music and put on some Bach, right? And listen to some very calming classical music when you're writing. And then try again. Put on some rock and roll and then write with that music and see how that makes you feel, right? It's a style, right? And this is something that you can practice. And the better you get at this, the better you'll feel like you can express yourself at all times, because you can express the same thing many different ways. Okay?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I agree. That's very interesting because I had read about the psychology of colors and what did how colors affect us, because it was like related to kind of my hobby and my work in certain time. Yeah, because I used to work as graphic designer. Yeah,
Oh.
and I didn't work in that field anymore, but it's still my hobby.
Sure,
because-
yeah, but
so
you know
it's
about it,
always
right?
interesting.
Yeah, and colors are interesting
Yeah.
because colors have many cultural differences. Like, so for example, sometimes, like in the West, the color white is often considered like a good color. It's a bright, it's a happy color. But white in Asia, it's often the color that they wear when it's a funeral. They wear white to funerals. So white
Yeah.
has a different meaning to them, right? And black, sometimes black people think black means dark or evil, but not to everybody. That's different, right? So that's a beautiful thing that you can look at it and try to imagine different ways to do it, you know? And Samira, it's kind of like this is a pocket knife. A pocket knife has many knives. They're all different, right? And that's the way you need to be as a writer. You need to have not just one knife that you can use, but you can use another knife or this other knife too, depending on what you need.
Yeah.
This knife is good for this. This knife is good for that. All right?
Yeah, and sometimes I feel I can't write if I couldn't feel. So maybe the most time I have write articles was in my bad days, yeah, in the wars.
Sure.
So yeah, but now every period time I write an article, but
That's good.
previously maybe every like I don't know, between days I can write, but now I couldn't.
Well, you know what I love to do is I use a notes app on my phone, and I use ChatGPT. And every time I have an idea for an article that I want to write about something, I tell ChatGPT. I say, hey, I've got an idea about this article that I want to write. I want to write this idea about this, 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 and this. And then I'll say, please start a draft but I only do that, I have to give it something first. I won't just tell it, hey, can you write an article for me about grammar? No, I will tell it, hey, I want you to write this. I'll give it, maybe I'll give like 3 paragraphs that tell my basic idea, exactly what I want it to say. And then I'll let it give me a draft. And then I go back and forth with it again and again and again and again until I feel like, this is the right article. This is me. These are my words. But if you don't go back and forth, then they're not your words. It's the ChatGPT's words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes when I don't feel satisfied about my writing, I ask ChatGPT to give me some inspiration phrases.
That's
and
great.
I read them.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's great.
But then I don't write them right away because I want to be more authentic. So
Okay, well, let me tell you one other thing, Samira.
The next days.
Samira, here's one more thing that's very important about being any kind of an artist at all, okay? And a writer is an artist. Even if you're just writing a little bit, you're an artist. That's an art, okay? But to be an artist, you must be prolific. What does that mean?
What's that mean?
Yeah, prolific, everybody. It's a good word. To be prolific means that you make a lot of something. You create a lot of something. You're prolific. So a writer should be a prolific writer. Don't try to write the perfect thing, Samira. Just write. Just write. Because guess what, Samira? If I want to write a beautiful song, I have to write 100 bad ones before I find that good one. Okay, Samira?
Yes, I agree, yes, because since my first time I downloaded this app on 2022, when I started to write my first moment, I couldn't, but with practice, after 4
Good.
years,
That's wonderful.
I maybe wrote like 100 articles.
That's great. That's great. So what I'm saying is if you are a singer, then you must sing. If you are a writer, then you must write. If you are a painter, then you must paint. You have to do it. You cannot just say, I'm a painter, but you never paint. No, to be a painter, paint. And then sometimes people say, but I'm not a real painter. Well, guess what? If you painted 100 things, you're a real painter. Even if they're bad, if you did 100 of them, that's still art. That's still you. That's still great. Okay? So to be prolific, you must be prolific. It's like this. When you are an artist, you want people to take you seriously, to see that you are an artist. But to get other people to take you seriously, you have to take yourself seriously first. And that means that you have to be prolific. You have to go do it. You have to say, okay, if I'm going to say I'm a drummer, then I have to go play the drums. I have to do it a lot. I cannot just say I am the thing. Words don't mean anything until you make them mean something.
Yeah, you will never reach the top if you didn't climb it step by step like a ladder.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but Samira, you sound like you're doing great. You sound like you're doing wonderful. Your English sounds good. So just keep working on it and keep writing. And use ChatGPT to help you write, okay? Because really, is it perfect? No. Is it somewhat evil? Maybe. But it is the greatest tool that we have had for learning on this planet since humans have been around. So is it great for everything? No, but it's really, really good for some things. Okay? So for this, I think it's wonderful. Like I said, I have never been so prolific than now because, yes, every time I get an idea, I talk to ChatGPT about it. So now, none of my ideas go to waste. Sometimes I'm at the store, and then suddenly an idea will hit me that'll be like, oh, this is a perfect idea for teaching. I need to write this down. And very quickly, that's what I will do. I will open up my ChatGPT and I'll tell ChatGPT, hey, I had this idea about this, and this. And then later, I'll go finish that article. I probably have 100 ChatGPT articles that I've started but haven't finished yet because I get ideas all the time. And then I just put it in there and then I can do something with it later. I can pursue it more, right? But I don't let them go. I don't let them go. I put everything down. Any little idea I have, put it down. Okay? Like I remember, this was a lesson, I learned this lesson from music. Again, guys, from music. When I was 19 years old, I think I was 19 years old, and I was playing in a rock band, and it was a band, I really loved playing with this band. We really had a good chemistry together. And we would get together for 2 hours every week, 2 times, and we practiced. And here was what happened. When we got together, the first thing we would do is we would just start trying to play something, just make something new. And we found out that, wow, sometimes we made some really amazing things, like just with nothing. We just came out and just created something. But we made the mistake of, for the first 3 or 4 months when we did that, we didn't record anything. And it was gone. Brilliance, gone. Gone, never to be found again. Gone, can't do it again. So then we went out to the store and we bought this $30 little cheap little recorder thing. And then every time we went to practice, the first thing we did when we walked in the room is put a tape in and start recording so that we didn't lose anything. Right? And I'm trying to teach you this idea that you don't have to lose anything anymore. If you have an idea, you are every bit as brilliant as anybody else that has ever been born on this planet. So when you see brilliant words from other people, those could be brilliant words from you, but you didn't write them down. They wrote them down. That's the only difference. So if you write them down, those words might be brilliant words one day that somebody else will share. Okay? So don't lose your ideas. Just tell ChatGPT or write it in a note and then go write an article about it. And the more you write, the better you will get. I started writing articles when I was 18, 19 years old.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, we have to use the advantages we have, and appreciate it.
Indeed.
Thanks, teacher. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And your advice.
All right, well, take care, Samira. It was wonderful to talk to you, and come back and see me again sometime, okay?
Okay.
All right,
you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
All right, guys, it has been 2 hours and 7 minutes, so I think it's about time for me to go. But once again, if you have not already, you should get the file. It's not the Epstein file. I don't have enough money to get on that island. I don't have enough money to get on the boat that would go to that island. So, yeah. And I wouldn't want to go. But get the file, please. The file that I put there in the chat, it tells you who I am. The file in the chat tells you my schedule, when am I here. It tells you about what we're doing here, right? What do I do? You can find my website in that file. You can find my blog in that file. You can find my YouTube channel in that file. There are also 4 free articles from my blog in that file. 4 articles about English for you. Okay? So everything you need to know about me is in that file. So copy that file. It's right here. Whoops. This is the file. Copy that link and paste it into your browser, and you can open it later. Okay? So, I think that's it for me today. I'm tired. Time for me to take a rest. So, thank you guys for watching and following. have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, wherever you live in the world. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Okay, guys. Bye-bye.